Hello YouTube. I am going to do a video today. It's the first time I've done one. I've been watching a lot of testimonials and so forth, and I just thought I'd get on and do one myself. Maybe someone can learn something from it or needs to hear it. I don't know. So, anyway, my name is D. Herpatch, and I was born and raised in Texas. I grew up in your average Christian family. Um, and I say that might not be true, but we went to church on Sundays and so on and so forth. And when I was about 5 years old, I prayed the Jesus Save Me prayer, and off and on throughout my young adult life and so forth, I would have always told you that I was a Christian, although I was pretty lawless in just about every sense of the word. Um, but before I get too far ahead of myself, let me just go back and say that when I was still young, my mom was kind of doing a little bit of what you might call church hopping, or even denomination hopping, if you will, looking here and there for what she felt like was the truth and so forth. Um, Eventually, we left the church because, uh, frankly, she felt like God was telling her to get out or she was going to be deceived. So at that point, we quit going to church. My We kept Passover once when I was young. We stopped keeping Christmas a long time ago. She basically looked in the encyclopedia and, right there in black and white, it's pagan. So we said goodbye to Christmas and Easter and all of these things, and we never really looked back, even though on a personal level, as I began to grow, when I left home and, I went to school and so forth, I kind of forgot what was going on at home, but it never really left me, I suppose, as it is written. Teach them in the things that of God, and when they are old, they won't depart from it. So I guess I didn't quite make it to be old, but maybe we don't have time for that. So here I am. But again, we I started to, like I say, get away from my parents and started to become a little bit wild. I've done drugs and, so on and so forth. Not, a lot or not heavy, but, I've tried a little of this and that and the other and just about anything you can imagine. I've been married several times. Needless to say, your average Christian life in the great old U.S. of A. And so when I got to be, maybe mid-20s or so, um, I just, one night got on my knees basically, or one morning, and said, look, show me what's the truth. Um, what do you want me to know? Forget what everyone else says. That sort of a thing. It's a prayer that I think many of us who keep Torah prayed at one time or another and meant it. By the way, if you're a Christian out there and you've been seeing, Torah, or you've seen some things and it's kind of tugging at your heart a little bit, the best thing that I can say is just get on your knees. And if you really want it and mean it and you ask for the truth, He's going to show it to you. And you're going to run across somebody, who's going to tell you what that truth is. And then just try to put your nose in the book. Don't rely on your pastor or anyone else. It's a very common thing for, I guess, people who are Torah observant nowadays to, give this story where they found out the truth and, oh, they were so excited and they run to their, pastor and, all of a sudden he just takes out his sledgehammer and smashes your dreams. That ought to be your first clue that maybe the church isn't the place for you. Maybe you should just get into the book and let God teach you, because frankly He knows more than your pastor. I'm pretty sure of that. So anyway, back to my story. I got on my knees and I prayed for truth, and although to be honest with you, I was already on that road just because, growing up and so forth, I really did at that point try and start to, do things right. Now, as far as keeping Torah goes, maybe for the last 5 to 7 years, I've slowly started to, keep the Sabbath, start, keeping Passover, this, that, the other. And that's another thing. You see that over the last 4 or 5 years, maybe a little bit more for some, but, over those few years anyway, a lot of people, the scales are coming off of their eyes. That just is a testimony to the time in which we live. The Bible says that's what's going to happen. We're going to wake up, we're going to go back to Him, and then He'll gather us home. And if that's something that you're looking forward to, or in any way, shape, form, or fashion tugs at your heart, maybe you ought to look into what that means and what the Bible says about that, because frankly I can't think of a more important thing to know right now than to get back to God and get ready to go home, because frankly He's about to shake the world, and you can either get shook or be on the right side of things, although we're all going to see a little bit of shaking, I'm sure. But at least if you're with God, worst thing that happens is you get killed. That's no big deal, as long as you've got Yeshua. And maybe I should go ahead and say I do believe in the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and I do believe that He sent His son Yeshua to this earth so that we might find grace. But that being said, that doesn't mean that we should trample all over it. And I think that's a big part of what's going on in the world today. People are just, oh, I said the Jesus prayer, and so now I get to run around, and, if I want to get married 5 times and have 20 kids with, 20 different people and whatever, anything goes because I have grace. Well, good luck with that. That's not the path I'm going to choose, and if it's the one you chose, then I'm not trying to step on your toes. I pray that you get on your knees and ask for some truth, but it's not the path for me. So anyway, I just thought I'd get on and kind of introduce myself. Let's say I plan on maybe making a few more YouTube videos. Obviously you can leave a comment at the bottom or whatever you like, and I may or may not look at them. That's just the way that I am. But I hope that you get on your knees and you ask for some truth, because it's the only thing that's going to save you.